If there's one thing that I've come to learn now that I wish I knew when I began my work in ministry fundraising, it's this one idea. I wish I knew at the beginning that my work in Christian fundraising wasn't about raising up gifts. It was about raising up givers. You see, it took me years as a development director at a university and then a vice president at both a university and a seminary to come to a place where I realized when I integrated my faith in my fundraising, it took me years to realize my job wasn't so much raising up gifts, it was raising up givers. Let me give a couple illustrations that drive this point home. When I started my career, I actually thought to myself, if it's my job to raise $1.2 million for this institution this year, I can't even take a day off. I actually divided the number of working days by the amount of money and thought to myself, a successful day would have been if I raised enough money to inch my way toward my goal. And I was all focused on the money. And that year, I didn't take much time off. And let's just say I scurried and worried a lot. And I came to realize something at the end of that year. I saw God move in the hearts of people to give when I never asked them. And I realized, wow, why did that person give? It wasn't because of me. It was because of God's work in them. And so I started to realize in the first decade of my career, wow, my job is really to encourage God's work in people's lives. And when I do that, they'll become generous as Christ is generous. And so then even if I'm on vacation or even if I'm at a conference or I'm not able to speak with them, they're still going to give because they've become a giver. They've become like Christ, who's a giver. The other illustration I would give that, again, I wish I knew this at the beginning, was when I had the privilege of engaging in some large fundraising campaigns. I realized with the mindset that my job was to grow givers and not just focus on gifts, I rallied the troops with me to focus on building a community of people and not so much hitting a target. And what was so beautiful was the target took care of itself because God supplies through his people. And so if there's one thing I wish I knew from the beginning, it's that our job is to grow givers. It's to work with people. It's to sow truths in their lives so that they can become givers and generous as Christ is generous.